are live.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Jennifer Hewitt-Apperson, and we are here for a live stream neighborhood meeting for the West Side Tavern. So I would like to thank everyone for participating this evening and also for your patience as we have had to, we did have to reschedule the previously scheduled neighborhood meeting for this project after our normal facilitator was suddenly unavailable due to family medical reasons. He is still currently out of the office on parental leave, so I do ask that you be patient with us in the event of any technical glitches, since we are running this without our usual live stream guru. So from the city of Longmont tonight, we do have myself, Jennifer Hewitt-Apperson, principal planner in long range planning. We have Kristen Cody, who is a senior planner in development review. We have Jim Engstadt from Public Works. We also have Matt Payette from our building division. Nathan Jones, who is also a planner in the office. And from the applicant team, we have Wes Isbot, who is the owner of West Side Tavern. And we have Jason Buss from F9 Productions. So this meeting is a required part of our pre-application process. The city does not yet have a formal application under review, and no decisions will be made at this meeting tonight. This neighborhood meeting is intended to be informational for everyone involved. Staff will give an overview of the process for variances, including development code and other regulatory and policy considerations. Then the applicant will present their concept plan. At that point, we will take a 5-minute break, and instructions for calling in will be posted on the screen. If you wish to speak, please call in during the break to get into the call-in queue. All speakers will have 3 minutes. We follow city council rules, so everyone gets 3 minutes. So we often get the question, why do we live stream our neighborhood meetings instead of holding them in person? So what we found is that this live stream format consistently allows for broader community engagement. We've seen increased participation during the live portion of the meeting. And additionally, this format enables a recording of the meeting to be available for future viewing on the city's YouTube channel for anyone who was unable to tune in live, or if anyone would like to rewatch the meeting. With that, I'm going to jump in. So this particular meeting is about West Side Tavern, which is generally located on the south side of 3rd Avenue between Sherman and Grant Streets. In terms of background, this site is zoned residential single family. It is considered a legal non-conforming use based on historic continuous commercial use of the property that predates our current zoning code by quite a lot. That said, the proposal tonight is to seek a variance to expand the current building. So with that, non-conforming uses may not be expanded without a variance, which is why we're here this evening. So the request, as I mentioned, is to expand the building footprint to enclose approximately 890 square feet of the existing patio with a greenhouse type structure. The proposal would constitute an expansion of the non-conforming use, and as such would require 3 variances: one for expansion of the non-conforming use, one for expansion of a non-conforming structure, and one for reducing the rear setback, which is an existing setback, but that expansion would trigger the need for a variance for that setback. So in terms of our process and project overview, so first there was a pre-application meeting held. Now we are here this evening for the neighborhood meeting. And once there's an application, once we finish this neighborhood meeting, the applicant will be able to submit a formal application for the requested variances, which would then be reviewed by the Development Review Committee. Our DRC does consist of a broad, it's a broad interdisciplinary committee. It involves planners, it involves engineers, public safety, building officials and the like. So it is a very broad review group. Once the Development Review Committee has finished its review and determined the application is sufficient and meets our needs, there would then be a public hearing by the Planning and Zoning Commission. They would be the decision-making body on the variance. Because this property is also a locally designated historic landmark, Historic Preservation Commission would also be required to review the proposal as through its certificate of appropriateness process, whereby the commission would be looking at, the exterior appearance basically of the building in relationship to the historic use and the historic structure. So in terms of what the review process looks like, I touched on this previously. Once an application is submitted for review, notices will be posted and mailed once the application is accepted by the Development Review Committee. Once that happens, once we accept it for review and schedule it for review, the DRC would review the application. Typically, there are multiple review cycles to ensure that our standards are met. Once the DRC is satisfied that the code requirements were met or that they're ready to refer it to the Planning and Zoning Commission, staff would make a recommendation to the Planning and Zoning Commission based on review criteria in the code that must be met. That Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing would again be noticed, much like this neighborhood meeting was, and much like the application will once it's submitted and accepted for review. There would be posted notice on the site as well as mailed notice to neighboring properties. So I don't expect you to read this. I'm not going to read this. This is just simply to show you that we do have a set of review criteria that all application types must meet. If you're interested in what this says, I would encourage you to go to section 15.02.055 of our Land Development Code. That is where the review criteria for all application types lives. In addition to those review criteria, there are additional review criteria for variances, which would be under 15.02.060 I5. So there are, like I said, these additional criteria, 6 criteria for variances. With that, I'm going to turn it over to the applicant team to discuss the specifics of the project.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Jason. I'm with the architecture firm F9 Productions. We've been working with Wes on this concept plan for essentially what is to be done with the patio. One note I want to make kind of at the beginning is we're using words like addition and expansion because they're the common construction terms kind of applicable in this situation. But one of the things that's really important to note is that this patio, as you might be able to see in Wes's little thumbnail, is it's already used for the restaurant. It's already has seating. So we're really not trying to change how many people come to the restaurant necessarily or change its maximum capacity. We're just trying to take the seating that already exists on the patio and make it more comfortable, more useful for maybe a longer portion of the year, while also doing something cool with it that hopefully adds to the character of the neighborhood and benefits everybody. So I just wanted to make that note that we're not anticipating any increase in how many people come to the restaurant, that sort of thing. So if we could go to the next slide. So the goals for this, obviously, like I was kind of mentioning before, is to increase the dining comfort for more of the year. We're hoping that this will also help better mitigate noise outside because currently it is fully outdoors, the patio seating, and with having more of a kind of greenhouse structure, especially for the spring and fall times of the year when the idea is to actually try to use that heat from the sun. Stuff will be closed. It'll only help the noise. rather than it just being outside, not a very noisy place to begin with. And then we're also our third goal is to work with the existing building character in terms of some of the materials and some of the scale of the building as well. We can go to the next one. It's important to note that this has been a food establishment since about 1915. Many of you are probably aware of that. It used to be a grocer, at some point a sandwich shop, and then for the past number of years, it's been West Side Tavern. So we can go to the next one. It's been serving the community that whole time. So I noted that we're trying to work kind of with our existing building form. So how we kind of designed this is we're kind of trying to create a kind of cool and somewhat modern structure that can do some of the things that the original building can't, in terms of having glazing that can work with the sun, and also large openings so that there can be high airflow in the summer, and then also have more of a greenhouse effect in the winter. And so the way we kind of blend that more modern and existing archetypes and styles together is kind of through a gradient. So the side that's closer to the existing tavern has a similar eave height, and we'll use similar materials to the building to sort of give a nod to the existing structure that it kind of abuts. And then as we move more to the left or farther away from the existing structure, it kind of deconstructs a little bit, if you will, so that there are some there's a little bit more glass underneath, but they're still kind of louvers. If you think about kind of the framing, the construction of the walls on the inside, those help with the sun as well as kind of that look. And then at the end, it's kind of more of a glass effect. So we're trying to kind of have a transition. So it's not just a stark new structure next to an old structure. And as you can also see here, it is a good deal shorter than the existing building. We're not trying to overpower it. We're trying to complement it. Next slide. So some information about the proposed structure. It's going to be somewhere, I know earlier it said about 890 square feet. This one says about 840. We're still nailing down the exact square footage. Obviously, this is a concept plan. This is where it's at right now. We still have a lot of work to do with the city and the building departments to get all of our ducks in a row to make this a reality. As I noted before, it's shorter than the existing building. And then my first note is that this covers existing outdoor seating. So we're not proposing any additional capacity in terms of, traffic and that sort of thing. So, maybe you used a little bit more throughout the year, but that's about it. You also see the word we're proposing an addition. There's a bit of the Longmont Municipal Code, since this is a historic non-conforming use, as we've gone over. We're not allowed to do this as an accessory structure, essentially, which is kind of how this is most logically thought of, this type of structure and this type of use. But we do technically have to have it be as a small addition to the building, just so that we are meeting the code, but we're trying to do a very minimal attachment to it, as it is a historic building. So we want to acknowledge that. And then we also have designed for high airflow in the summer. And then, like I said, that greenhouse effect / sunroom for the colder weather in the winter. Next slide. These are a couple exterior images. Actually, I think there's just this one. So this is kind of the view from the street. So you can see how it kind of looks and feels. Obviously, there's not color in all of this, but that's the overall feel that we're going for. Hoping that will be a cool addition to the neighborhood. And then last slide, I think, is just a little rendering. So you can kind of see similar building materials. We're not trying to blow anything out of the water, big openings, all that kind of stuff. So that is what I have to say. I'll kick it over to Wes in case he wants to add anything.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. I'd just like to add a couple of things. Our vision is to try and create an enchanted area. So over the face of the building there, where you see those slats, lattices, we plan to grow vines over that whole area. Inside, have ficus trees in the wintertime, really make it a lush and enchanted type of area. That's kind of the goal, to enhance the experience.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I think that's it from us.
Great. Thank you, Jason and Wes. All right, so just to reiterate some of the next steps. So following this neighborhood meeting, the applicant team will be able to submit a formal application for variances relating to enclosure of this patio space. Once our reviews are finalized, we would then make a recommendation to the Planning and Zoning Commission, who is the decision-making body for variances. Ultimately, the city council is what's known as the appellate body. So if there are any appeals of the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision, whatever they should decide, it would be appealed to city council. In addition to the variance, the Historic Preservation Commission would need to review the proposed addition through its certificate of appropriateness process. Because this is a pretty substantial addition that is viewable from the street, it would definitely require approval by the full commission and review by the full commission. So there will be there will be at least two public hearings that would be related to this project. For the Historic Preservation Commission, the required notice is via sign. We don't typically do mailed notices for the Historic Preservation Commission meetings. All right, so just want to go over a few points. How can you make your voice heard? I know there's been a lot of discussion and interest in this project over the years. Ways that members of the community can really effectively make their voices heard is to submit written comments to planning staff. When you make a written comment, it goes into the project record, which would then be part of the package submitted to the decision-making bodies during the public hearing process. You're encouraged to speak during the comment period at neighborhood meetings and speak during public hearings before Planning and Zoning Commission and Historic Preservation Commission. All of those would be forums to get your voice on the record. We're about to shift into our public comment period. We do ask that you follow some ground rules. As I noted previously, we do follow city council rules. So every speaker gets 3 minutes. We will have a timer on our end and we'll let you know when there's 30 seconds remaining. We ask that you state your name and where you live, just like you would if you were at the podium at city council. We do ask that you keep your questions and comments related to the current proposal. We would ask that you be respectful and also be additive, not repetitive. If someone's already made your point, but you want to emphasize that you agree with that there's a certain point, feel free to pipe in to speak and maybe make a note that I was wanting to speak about X, and my point has already been made. Something along those lines. We encourage everyone to speak, obviously. Staff of the applicant will respond after all callers have spoken. So we will take everyone's calls, take everyone's comments, make notes of them. And then at that point, once everyone has spoken, we will respond. With that, it's time for public comment. Here are the instructions to call in. We will take a 5-minute break. We will have the meeting open so people can call in. When you're prompted, enter the meeting ID. And then at that point, just follow the directions. We'll keep this up for the duration of the break. Once we come back, I'll have contact information. If for some reason you get dropped off the call queue, you can email me and we'll get you let back in. So with that, we are going to take a 5-minute break and we'll come back and listen to some comments and take your questions. Thank you.
We have 1 minute left in the break, so now is the time to call in if you haven't done so already. Once you've called in, please mute the live stream on YouTube if that's how you're watching the live stream. Call in with our toll-free number, 1-888-788-0099, and enter the meeting ID when you're prompted, 874-5964-9181. And once we begin calling on callers, I will call you by the last 3 digits of your phone number, and you'll hit *6 to unmute. So call in now. We've got a couple seconds left. All right, that's end of our 5 minutes break. So we will start going through the list for our callers. We'll go in order. You'll have 3 minutes. Again, please state your name and address for the record when you begin. You'll hear me come on when you have 30 seconds left, just as a reminder, so to wrap up your final thoughts. And then at the end, you'll hear me come on the end of 3 minutes, and we will take the next caller.
Great. Thank you so much, Melanie. So as I noted, once we start taking callers, if you, for some reason, lose connection to the call-in queue, please email me at the address on the screen to be let back in. I will leave this slide up for the duration of the call-in period. So with that, Melanie, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. We're going to start with caller with your phone number ending in 060. Please hit *6 to unmute yourself. And again, please mute the live stream and state your name and address for the record.
I'll also note there is a little bit of a lag with the live stream, so keep that in mind.
Once again, caller 060. Hit *6 to unmute.
Hi, this is Doug Jones. I live within 300 feet of the property, and currently the property has numerous temporary structures that have been up since the start of COVID, and I'm just wondering if those structures are considered temporary structures, even though they've been up for so many years. The other question I have is, on your current plans, you're showing that there is no seating to the front or to the east of the building where you currently have it blocked off for seating, and wondering if those do indeed tend to come down, and if this process is approved, if that seating, since it's not shown on your current plan, is ever going to be added as permanent seating or even temporary seating to your structure. So those are my 2 questions. Oh, and then the last one was, you show 4 parking spaces on the site plan. On the elevations, you show 2 parking spaces plus an accessory or accessible parking space. So just curious about the clarification on that one as well. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Doug. All right.
Thank you. All right. Caller 248. Please hit *6 to unmute. Caller 248, we can't hear you. If you can unmute yourself.
Oh, hi.
There we go.
Does this
Thank you
work?
so much.
Good. Hi, I'm Ann Rick at 346 Sherman Street, just up the block. And I'm excited about this I think that mixed use in these old neighborhoods really helps make the neighborhood more vibrant. I feel like West Side Tavern has been a very good neighbor, attentive to any problems we've had. Typically, it's cars. And I like the look of this design. I think it integrates history with modern. I think it would be a good asset to my neighborhood. So that's my feeling on it as a longtime neighbor.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
All right. Here we go. And caller 329, please hit *6 to unmute. 329.
Okay, hello. My name is Donna Hoff. I live at 1287 3rd Avenue, which means I live right next door to West Side Tavern. I've lived here about 40 years, and I've never had any kind of problem with West Side Tavern as far as noise or a parking problem or their customers. They're always very, very nice, very pleasant. I think West Side Tavern is a very positive addition to this neighborhood, and I hope the city will work with West on this project. And that's all I have to say, but thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Caller 498. 498, please hit *6 to unmute. All right, it looks like you are off mute. Please state your name and address for the record. *498, we can't hear you if you're speaking. Can you hit *6 again to unmute?
You able to hear me now?
Yes, thank you very much. You can go ahead.
My name's Carol Brooks. I live at 225 Sherman Street, and my call is to voice our concerns about further expansion of this project and our opposition to that. And that's really all I have to say. Thank you for taking the calls.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Caller 399, please hit *6 to unmute.
Hello?
Looks like, yes.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Savannah Steamer. I live at 156 Sunset Street, and I wanted to voice just support for the project. West Side Tavern was really a feature that I really liked when choosing to move into the neighborhood. I find that it's it seems like a quiet structure, but I really just enjoy like having like the mixed use, as others have said. Me personally, I go there pretty frequently. I got engaged there. My husband proposed to me there, and so I just really want to express my support for Westside.
Thanks, Savannah, and I apologize if I missed it. Could you, once again, your name and address for the record?
Oh yes, it's Savannah Steamer, 156 Sunset Street.
Thank you.
Very much. Caller 027, please hit *6 to unmute. 027.
Hello.
Hello. We can hear
Hi,
you.
thank you. Okay, great. My name is Jackie, and I've lived with my family on Sherman Street on the 200 block of Sherman Street for almost 30 years. For the record, I didn't get the second meeting postponement letter this time, but I did get the first one. Just want to say the Westside Tavern and Wes himself have been issues ever since the tavern took over the existing business at this property. There have been numerous negative interactions with neighbors caused by Wes. He has not been a good neighbor to the surrounding residences. He and his business came into our long-established surrounding neighborhood of single-family homes. Since the beginning, he has expanded onto other areas of the property, sometimes legally and sometimes not, in my opinion. The existing patio area, seating, gate, and large planters were part of a provision during COVID when outdoor seating was needed as a business hardship. That no longer poses any kind of hardship for the business, so the whole thing should be removed and returned to available parking as it has historically been, not made permanent with a permanent structure. He seems to be asking for a variance of a non-conforming variance, and it shouldn't be approved. The proposed pre-application structure is cumbersome, ugly, doesn't fit with a residential neighborhood or the style of the existing old historic building, and is unnecessary and inappropriate for its surroundings. I don't think that modern mixes with a historic designation and style. This business, as it's grown, should really be in an area in Longmont that is zoned and appropriate for restaurants, where the resulting noise, space, and people and car traffic and other impacts are expected and acceptable. This historic original building has been a business for many years, but it was really confined to the actual building, the original building structure with parking alongside of it. This tavern business in its current state is really no longer compatible or appropriate for the residential area. The patio seating must be entirely removed as it was just a temporary accommodation, and the structure proposed certainly shouldn't be advanced past the pre-application status, nor approved or to go any further. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have caller 999. Please hit *6 to unmute. Caller 999.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. My name is John Lochran. I live at 220 Sherman, and I have more questions today than comments. And one, I was wondering, what is the proposed the ratio of the building of the new patio area in relation to the original building? So we didn't hear any footage on that original building. So I would like to know what those two ratios are. Then also, what percentage of the lot would be built out with the proposed addition in addition to the original building? another question along those lines is, how do the coolers and the walk-in freezers count towards the built footage? Because there's a lot of built space back there. Then there's some other additions which I don't know if they've been added on with, it appears they weren't permitted. So that would be something that would need to be counted in with the built footage. The next group of questions relates to how many variances have been awarded or achieved through on this site over its history since it was a grocery store. And finally, what is the hardship? It said that for a variance, there would have to be like some type of a unforeseen hardship. And I was wondering I haven't heard that stated. So I would appreciate some further information along those lines. Thank you.
Great, thanks, John.
Okay. Caller 592, please hit *6 to unmute and state your name and address for the record. Caller 592.
Hello?
Hello, we
Hello.
can hear you. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Deborah Heiser, and I live at 730 Kimbark. For the record, I am Wes's wife. Anyway, we have been a part of this. Yes, hello?
We can still hear you.
Okay. My name is Deborah Heiser, and I live at
Oh, Deborah, please mute your live stream because we're getting an echo.
Sorry. There you go.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes, you are correct. There is a bit of a lag. I just wanted to state that we have been a part of this community since we have opened. And I know that my husband, Wes, has done everything in his power to mitigate any concerns or issues that anyone in the neighborhood has had. However, there appears to be some folks who just believe that change should not happen. And we believe in community. We believe in getting along with our neighbors, and we have done everything we can to continue that. And also, I did want to make one point about the fact that you do continue to use the word expansion. However, we are not expanding any seating or anything in the area. So I believe that you mean by expansion, you're just talking about perhaps the zoning. So those were the only things that I wanted to say. We love our customers. We love the community. We love Longmont. And we have been a part of it since we have moved here 10 years ago. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much.
All right, caller 483, please hit *6 to unmute. Caller 483.
Hi, this is Laura Rydell. I live on Sunset Street.
Hi, Laura, we hear you. You can go ahead.
Hey. You just want me to tell you what I think?
I think the Tavern is a wonderful place. I frequent it frequently. I'm in the neighborhood. I think it's an awesome thing to have a local place in the neighborhood. The newness is not going to end here. It's going to make it even better. It's a phenomenal place. It's a huge part of the neighborhood. It's been here for flippin' ever. It's always been a commercial establishment. Complaining about it being here is kind of like moving next to the airport and complaining about planes. But anyway, it's a phenomenal place. Everybody should come on down and visit, new or old. Thank you much. Talk to you later.
Great. Thank you so much. So I did receive word from 2 callers that they got dropped off. So we do have the meeting reopened for those 2 callers. If you could call in the next 30 seconds, we'll get you in the queue. And while that's happening, I'll start addressing a couple of the questions. Would need to do some research to Mr. Loughran's question. We would need to do some research in terms of how many variances have been done in the past. In terms of what the hardship is, I will leave that to the applicant team because they are the ones who have to demonstrate that they're meeting the findings. They have to make that argument, not the staff. In terms of proportion of the lot that would be built out, we don't have that information yet. And I will also note that our code does not address lot coverage. We have setback requirements, but we do not have lot coverage requirements. So that's an important distinction. Let's see. I will let Matt Payette from building speak momentarily, but we do have one of the drop speakers that has come back in. So caller 660, if you would like to comment. And press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. And also please make sure that your live stream is muted so that we don't get feedback.
I think you shouldn't hear the feedback now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
My name is Ann Dorzinski. I live over by Twin Peaks Golf Course on Bryn Mawr, and we think that Westside Tavern is a wonderful addition to our community. There's so many people that we meet here that we would never meet anywhere else from different sides of the community. So we think his addition would be fantastic.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And I think we have one more caller with the number ending in 840. Press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, hi there. This is Del Ray Heiser. I'm at 625 Emery Street in Longmont. I've been here since 2006. And for those neighbors who have been there for 30 years who have said that, you know, the outside seating should be taken away, if you recall, Richards on 3rd, who was not open during the pandemic, had outside seating, and that's pretty much where everybody sat because they barely had any inside seating. So I think outside seating is critical to this business, and that's what people love to do in Colorado, to sit outside because we have such wonderful weather. And again, I just want to remind those neighbors that, you know, Richards on 3rd was a long-standing restaurant that had tons of support, and they had outside seating all of the time. And so I disagree with their saying that the outside seating should be taken away. It's a value, and it will be appreciated by all of their customers. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. And with that, I think we have all the callers have spoken. And so I will start with our staff comments. Matt, if you could address the question about the temporary structures.
Yeah, of course. I'm Matt Payette. I'm assistant building official for the city of Longmont. And The structures were allowed, as has been previously mentioned, for the pandemic, the COVID pandemic, to accommodate business goer, patrons, so they can be outside and properly distanced. Since then, there was a code enforcement case that was opened up in March of this year, letting them know that those were against city code. That code case has since this process has started, has kind of been put on hold until we continue and find the answer to this proposal.
Great, thank you so much, Matt. And then, Jim, would you like to mention, I know you were looking at some historic photos regarding the patio. Could you speak to that?
Certainly. The area where, if you go back, I think one of the speakers did touch on it. The patio area that is currently looking to be enclosed was in existence when this was Richards, and maybe previously before that. Google Earth has, or Google Maps has, you can go back and see dates of photos if they were taken, and there's clearly a history that this existed as far back as I want to go 2007, as far back as it goes. The area that I think was expanded during COVID was the area in the parking lot, and that has been removed. And that's shown in the 21 photo. And then if you go to 23, it shows it as the condition it is today. So I think, to be clear, the area that is proposed to be enclosed was existing prior to this being the West Side Tavern.
Great, thank you for that clarification, Jim. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Wes and Jason to speak, and there were some business specific questions, additionally relating questions about the hardship that would justify the variance. Jason and Wes, would you like to take that?
I am not able to unmute.
And if you could turn your videos on when you're speaking, that'd be great.
I don't think I can turn my video on at the moment.
I can't either.
You can go ahead and try it now.
Awesome.
Here we go. Here we go.
So yeah, as far as the hardship goes, is just that the hardships is that we are in a non-conforming zone, or it is technically a non-conforming use, and so that we have to go through all this variance process. That is one of the hardships, as opposed to, let's say, if this were a property that had a residence on it and we were expanding a residence. But I mean, I can speak more to the variance once I've done like the hardship, once I've done a little more research on it. There are specific aspects that you have to touch on for the variance, and I'll definitely be writing that for our application. I have not done that yet. So that's kind of my sort of half-baked answer at this point, just because I haven't done that research yet to sort of have a formal answer for that. I don't know if Wes wants to add on to that.
Not unmute. I can't unmute. Hey, I'm going to be delicate here about this, that I have to say. The people who are asking for that have been stalking us for 6 years and filing complaints and violations across the board. Building officials, fire officials, everyone agrees we're here. This has been a commercial property since 1915. It has never not been. So once again, if you move next to an airport, expect some planes. We are historic, not for the architecture. This is a very important point. We are historic as a neighborhood gathering place. That is what the historic documents say. That is why it's important. And that is why I am here to show you it is a neighborhood gathering place. And those of you who do not want to be neighborly, my apologies.
And then now be a good time to touch on the points from the questions that were asked.
Those are the primary ones. There was a question about, I know in terms of the space, in terms of the lot,
Yeah.
coverage and the ratio, what would the, how much of an increase would, proportionate increase would the enclosure add to the building? I think because I think my understanding from you is that this is still TBD because you're finalizing, you're still.
It's still TBD. I will note, as far as the patio space goes, since I have worked on this project a number of times over the years, from a permitting capacity, I will say that as to my knowledge, everything on the property is permitted. As Matt brought up, there's the issue with the sort of temporary like shade structures and that sort of thing, but the patio seating itself is permitted. It is part of the permit drawings. The occupants of those seats are included in the occupancy calculations for the building. They're included in the bathroom calculations that we have to do to make sure that enough is provided for all the use of the building, indoor and outdoor. So the seating itself has definitely been in front of the city and approved, and that's all above board. I know that came up a few times, so I just wanted to note that. As far as the ratio, I don't have the exact numbers. I think the existing tavern, like just from a square footage standpoint with the coolers and that kind of stuff, I'm not quite sure how it would all shake out. I think it's in the mid 1200 range, somewhere along those lines. I could be wrong. I was just doing some quick like napkin math, so please don't take it as word. And the existing structure would be 840, so I think it's about in the 2/3 range if I'm doing my math correctly there. But again, like I said, the existing patio area is permitted, so you can also consider the use to be just as it has been, just looking a little different, and just being better protected from the elements and the look and all that kind of stuff. And then, okay. Oh, there was a question about the parking spaces. Some of our older renderings had, I think, 4 regular spaces in front. I believe it was asked that we have an accessible parking space. So I believe that the current proposal is to do 2 regular spaces and an accessible space. I think that is the most current. Obviously, we'll continue to work with planning and zoning and the building department to do everything that's asked of us as properly as we can. So I think that's all I have to say at this point.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Jason. Thank you so much, Wes. And anyone else, Jim or Matt or Kristen, are there any other comments that you have or questions that weren't answered that you would like to add to?
No, I have nothing more to add.
Great. All right. Well, I'm going to thank everyone for tuning in this evening. Contact information for city staff as well as Jason from the applicant team are on the screen. So if there are any questions that come to mind after the fact, or if you want to submit something in writing, feel free to contact city staff to submit something in writing, and obviously feel free to reach out with any questions that you may have as well. With that, thank you so much for attending this meeting, and thank you so much for your patience as we worked our way through the technology that we don't normally operate ourselves. So again, thank you so much. And if you have any questions or further comments, feel free to reach out. So